Hello all, welcome back to another interesting story under the Azadi Kamrat Mahotsav story series by Momish Dominions. Today I'm going to talk about an interesting topic that's nothing but zero. We all are afraid of zero at some point of time in our lives, right? Maybe during the student days that we shouldn't get zero as the marks in our exams, or maybe during our professional days that we shouldn't get zero as the increment. There are so many times that we should be scared of zero. But but when you're asked the question that who invented zero, most of you will automatically point out towards Indian country and say that it's Aryabhatta who has invented zero. But some people, these pseudo intellectuals, point out to Sumerians, Babylonians, or even Mayans, saying that these are the people who has actually invented zero, and they give all the timelines before all that. Today I'm going to show you actually the proof that Indians have used zero in their calculations way before Sumerians or Mayans or the Babylonians. Uh, do you know that there is a living proof in the form of a temple which shows the fact that zero has been used by Indians so long? But before we go there, let us understand one thing. Is zero really invented by somebody? Even for that matter, Aryabhatta? Aryabhatta is known to be the father of Indian mathematics, who invented zero, who gave us a lot of Fibonacci series, defined pi, trigonometry, blah, 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 blah. We all read it in our school days, isn't it? And he's made so many theories on the astronomy front without any telescope at that point of time because he used purely the mathematical calculations, and all his theories are postulated in a book called Aryabhatiya, which the future mathematicians used to decipher a lot of things, all that stuff. Any person who is interested in history or mathematics will be able to tell. But my question to you all is, do you think zero is waiting for somebody to come and invent, or it's there in the system for so long that we never just took notice of it? For example, if we talk about Ramayana or Mahabharata, we all remember Ravana had 10 heads. 10 means there should be one zero in the 10 units place, isn't it? Or we'll say Hanuman has jumped more than 10 yojanas to reach the current Sri Lanka from the basically Rameshwaram town, that is the Dhanushkoti near Rameshwaram town. So 10 means that's already there. And if you see 100 Kauravas in Mahabharata, or they used to talk about the Akshonis of army people, Akshoni is more than lakh, right? So they were using numbers which are higher than 1 lakh, 1 crore, even beyond that, trillions and zillions at that point of time itself. So that means zero is known as a number or a placeholder for them way long back itself, right? So then why somebody like Aryabhatta has to come and invent zero when it's already in the system? The reason what I could decipher is that, see, for mathematics, all along is known as a complex subject which is being used by scientists or for their astronomical studies, physical sciences studies, and all the stuff, lot of calculations. But what about the common man? Common man was not using that much of mathematics for his calculations. When you are asked to give money or exchange money, do some trading, count your sheep at that point of time. I'm talking about the ancient Indian times, right? So there were times where common man was having very much difficulty in counting because he doesn't have the tools like abacus, or he doesn't know the methods to calculate. So he was having a lot of difficulties. So that is the reason why people have started defining number system, saying these are the units, these are tens, hundreds, thousands, so that people can, the common man without much knowledge about the complex mathematical subjects, can actually use mathematics in his day-to-day life, which is very much needed for trading, for counting, for managing your house, managing your business, everything, right? Mathematics is there everywhere for us to see. So the, that means what it is not that Aryabhatta has invented, he has explained the concept of zero to us. There is a difference between explaining the concept and there is a difference between invention. Invention is something which you have to invent brandly, totally in a new way, right? But since zero is already existing for so long in ancient Indian civilization, Aryabhatta is the first person who has actually done a lot of research and explained the concept of zero as a placeholder. When you say 105, what you will do? You'll say there is a 1 in the hundreds place, there is 0 in tens place, and there is 5 in the units place. So that 0 is a placeholder for tens place to say that there is nothing in tens, but you need to term that number as 105, or that is 105. And that is the time when you have to actually give them that this thing, right? Placeholder. Instead of using place, just a dot or something as a placeholder, Aryabhatta is the first person who has designated that zero in the oval shape. And in his in his all these books in Aryabhatiya, and the next generation mathematicians like Brahmagupta and others, mainly Brahmagupta, are the ones who had come down and did a lot of research on the Aryabhatta books, like Aryabhatiya, and given us the rules to how to use zero. Like when you multiply a number with a zero, the quantity is zero. If you multiply 5 with zero, the net quantity is 5. That means you give zero, there will be nothing. And you add zero to certain number, the number stays as is. You subtract some zero from a certain number, the number stays as is. Something like all these different rules as to how to use zero, what is the number system, how we can actually do a lot of things, how we can convert into fractions, then a decimal system, all that stuff were defined by Brahmagupta. So that means our ancient mathematicians have given us the important ways to use zero and other numbers, and they showed us the way that zero is, again, can we call it as a king or the main person in the number system, number family. Because without zero there is nothing. We can only count till 9. Post 9 we don't have any other numbers, right? That means the entire if you have to, you will not have 12, you will not have 15, you will not even have 100, you will not even have thousands and 10,000s, which means our entire civilization will collapse. Just think about it this way. Now we are watching all your videos on the Android phones or computers. And what does computers use? The language which computers use is binary system, which is zeros and ones. So if Aryabhatta or Brahmagupta have not done this kind of research and explained us the significance of zero, then this entire computers, Android systems, the networking, everything would have collapsed, right? It wouldn't have developed. I shouldn't use the word collapse. I'm so sorry for that. These things wouldn't have got developed. That means the rocket science wouldn't have progressed. Lot of things, right? Networking, telephony, mobile systems, computer systems, everything. That means our civilization would have stopped at their time, that is in the common era, 500s common era or 600s common era, post which we don't have made so much progress. So for all these things, the solid base was given by Aryabhatta and Brahmagupta. So for that, we need to definitely give credit. But our so-called Indian pseudo-intellectuals say that no, Sumerus are the first ones who invented zero. They used it as a placeholder. There are so many arguments in the mathematical world that you should see. If you are interested in mathematical world, because my dad is a mathematics professor, I used to find these arguments so funny, and we should discuss it. And that is the reason why I thought I'll share some of them with you. But recently, we got a living proof that this zero, which was used as a not only a placeholder, like how I explained it, between 105 or 180, the zero is used to indicate that there is no number in that particular units or tens or hundreds or thousands place. That technique is called using the zero as a placeholder value, and using zero as a number means 10, like that. So there is a living proof that we found in the remote corner of India. That is what I wanted to share it with you, with saying uh, uh, the Chaturbush temple, which is found in the Gwalior fort, contains certain inscriptions like any other temple's inscriptions, isn't it? Gwalior is in the middle of the India in Madhya Pradesh, and this Chaturbush temple has been carved out of one single huge stone. And below the Gwalior fort, you can see that Gwalior fort up on the Chaturbush temple here, which contains 4 pillars, and this is a temple dedicated to Lord Vishnu in 876 AD. Okay, so what? It's like any other temple, and India is the land of temples, isn't it? So then what's so special about this temple? There is some specialty, my dear friends. This temple inscription contains zeros. Surprised? Yes. I told you, right? This temple is dedicated to Vishnu. Next to the Vishnu idol, of course, the face of the idol is kind of demolished and ruined. There is this inscription you can see, which when you zoom it, it says that. I mean, the matter of the inscription says that it's very common inscription. This temple was constructed by so and so king, and he has given so many paraganas as an offering for this temple. He has given 50 ankanas of whatever garden, and we used to offer 50 different types of flower garlands daily to the main deity, and so many things. Thousands of these things were there. 10,000 things of this thing is there. See, you can see that oval shape that is coming out here in the number format. So this is the first written inscription which we can find it on the temple walls, which says that zero is known to Indians by 876 AD itself. So now I'm talking about Aryabhattiyam and all the other books written by Brahmagupta and all those books. But our intellectuals don't believe these books, right? They say it's all cock and bull stories. Some people even say Mahabharata and Ramayana are cock and bull stories. For those kind of people, this inscription is a clear cut way to silence their arguments, isn't it? Not only that, of course, our tourist guides, our tourism department try to publicize this, saying like, here you can see this portico is carved out with various scenes of Krishna Lila. The inscription in the sanctum of the temple contains the figure zero in numerical form, used probably for the first time in the Gwalior region. Though they're trying to propagate, promote this Gwalior temple, they again minimize the impact of using zero. Not only in Gwalior region, but in entire India, or in entire world, you can say this is the first written for proof that zero is being used in India. And you can see a lot of words to guide you to the inscription where people can go watch zero, the oldest existing zero in Gwalior region, not just Gwalior region. I think these tourism department should wake up and start making short films, putting it in social media, making more documentaries about this inscription, which unfortunately our government doesn't take much care. Not only that, the another important manuscript in which zero can be found is Bakshali manuscript, which is written on an old birch tree bark, and the carbon dating has proved that this manuscript was written over around 600 BCE. That means it puts again 200, 300 years earlier time where zero is can be found. And this manuscript is still in existence in the Oxford's University's Bodleian Library, where you can see the number zero written in the oval format. So this manuscript was once again found in during the Britishers' time in India, which states yes, and the carbon dating of this manuscript, both of the writing as well as the bar puts this manuscript to somewhere around 600 BCE, which is like again once again shows the fact that it is known to Indians. Indians were using this zero as not only as a placeholder but as a numeral, as the one digit, as a one zero with a one integer. Integer or whatever you want like to call it with a value. Though zero doesn't have a value. But then, why we are not able to identify this much longer before all these researchers came, started digging into Indian history? Maybe my argument is that Aryabhattiyam and then Brahmagupta's books, most of them were written in the poetic or the verse format. And most of us think that mathematics and poetry are two different disciplines. A mathematician is so logical, his brain is so logical, and he cannot think creatively, so he'll not appreciate poems. And the writer or the poet thinks that mathematics is too abstract, too rule based, that I don't like mathematics. But look at the beauty here, my dear friends. Aryabhatti, Brahmagupta's books, most of them were written in the verse format or poem format, and Brahmagupta's Brahmaganitam actually contains more than 1700 poems written in the form wherein all these calculations for trigonometry, calculus, astronomical calculations about the orbit sizes, the way planets are rotating, their speeds, all these things were written in the poetic format. So that means we Indians are not able to understand those poems because and poems are not able to understand the complete Sanskrit verses, are not able to do complete research on those books, isn't it? And one more thing, in India, most of the this knowledge, right from Nalanda Takshashila days, most of this knowledge is always passed to us in the oral format. Even Ramayana, Mahabharata, any ancient scripts, Vedas, Upanishads, most of them are passed down to the common man in the form of a poem, song, or a folk tale. Because at that point of time, the elders felt that giving so much rules and regulations will not help the common man to retain the knowledge. So they converted it into a easier format which the common public can understand even without any basic education. So as generations went by, most of us started ignoring these folk tales, ignoring these myths, saying that they are just cock and bull stories, some vague folk song which doesn't have any meaning. But if you dig in little deeper, if you care to dig in little deeper, and if you have patience to research, every word in that folk tale, every word in that poem has some meaning, and that is what the Mahabalipuram statues are proving to us, right? In the similar way, this is the real proof. In fact, even the Indian architecture, which has gone to Angkor Wat in Cambodia, and when they had started building a lot of temples in Cambodia, they used different inscriptions. Again, once again, where we can find a zero there too. And this inscription is called K127, which is being stored in the Cambodian National Museum even today. So this puts the full stop, hopefully, in the mathematical world, saying who is the first person who has invented zero? What is that significance of zero, whether Sumerus or in Babylonians or Mayans? But whatever it is not that who invented zero is what matters to us. What matters to us at this point of time is that not to just cut short all our folk tales, not to just ignore them, but to make more and more research, at least under this after this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav celebrations, to start believing in our ancient civilization, to start working. Then we can basically take in more important theorems, philosophies, more important knowledge from that. I hope at least some people from this young generation will be able to, take my words and start working in that direction. And that's all is the story for today, my dear friends. I hope you like the new proofs that have come up about zero. Let us meet tomorrow with another interesting story. Bye bye till then.